So I've had a lot of fun building the Aurora Prehistoric Scenes kits. I've got 14 of the 17 done. This one is going to be number 15. This is the sailback reptile, the Dimetrodon. So, yet another one I didn't get to build as a kid. Uh, so, looking forward to this one. It's got some unique features that I'll go over. Um, it has some parts that are molded in this clear green plastic, like this dragonfly, that's going to be interesting to do. I've got some ideas for that. And one of the things it also has is this little salamander guy. Um, Now, with this kit, I got it off of eBay and it was missing some things, including the belly um, for our little guy here. That's okay. A little bit of milliput should fix that just fine. It's also missing. There's apparently a little teeny tiny bone. Um, this kit is missing it. It does have a little teeny tiny skeleton, which I guess is another unfortunate salamander or some other lizard, and a little teeny tiny spider. It also has some reeds and ferns that are also molded in that clear green plastic. Now, one of the dangers, aside from missing parts, is sometimes broken parts. And this kit has on the base a broken part, which I should be able to fix. Uh, it happens. This should be a pretty easy fix. Now, for my inspiration for the color scheme, I found this guy out on the internet. I don't know who the artist is. I really should look into that. But I really like kind of this desert leopard pattern skin tone on this. So I've actually done this kit, or not this kit, but um, this color scheme with this is Lindbergh's version of the Dimetrodon. I think I went a little too busy with the pattern, so I'll be a little more subtle with it now. As my usual process is, I'll get a toy version, but and do that as the practice test bed for the paint. But I already have done that in preparation for the Lindbergh model, so don't need to do that again. Now, also as my process, I'll do a drawing in this, or maybe multiple drawings depending upon the kit. So the first drawing I did when I was doing the Lindbergh version was this kind of cartoony looking thing here. I've since made improvements on my drawing. Still not where I want it to be, but this will give you a sense of what I'm going for. Now, continuing on with the drawing for our little salamander. Oh, let me do the base first. So I've done a drawing of the base, which doing a drawing of the base is informing what I need for the salamander and the dragonfly. So I want it to make sense. I'd like to get a good contrast, but it also has to make sense for the environment. So doing this first gives me an idea of what to do with our salamander and our dragonfly. So for the salamander color scheme, I looked at a bunch of different things, and at a certain point, it kind of hit me. What a burger. And if you're not in Texas or you're not familiar with Whataburger here in Texas, it's a big burger chain, and their logo is white and orange. So this is the Whataburger salamander. And I also looked at a lot of dragonflies. They don't have much color on their wings. So they're unlike butterflies that are very colorful, or some moths. Dragonflies generally don't have too much color. I've seen some where they had some along the top of the wing and a little bit on the tips here, or on the outer parts of the wing. So this is going to be my at least what I'm going with right now for the dragonfly. Now, here's the thing with doing this. It's sort of like when you storyboard a film. Storyboarding helps you make decisions. It absorbs you in story. You start making editorial decisions. And one of the ways it helps you is that you've already given it some thought. You're not locked into the storyboard. But doing the storyboard, if you see something that's better, it helps you recognize it. So I'm going to start with this, but if I come along and see something that might work better, I'll do that instead. Anyway, so this is going to be, I think, a fun kit to build. I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see what this adventure has in store for us. In the injection molding process, a release agent is used to get the parts free from the mold. The problem with that is that release agent can stay on the parts and pose a problem when you go to paint the model. So it's always a good idea to clean your parts first. My process for doing that is to spray the parts down with Windex, wipe them down, and then come back and spray them with water and wipe them down again and let them dry. That has worked pretty good to remove any residual release agent. This base came with a broken part that I need to fix. So what I'm going to do is cut up some pieces of styrene strips and use them kind of as a scaffold to put this back together, and then later putty up the seams. A lot of progress has been made. Let's go over it. First of all, and most importantly, Our Dimetrodon is done, but not without a lot of problems. Um, First of all, the plastic is extremely brittle. I had a little piece of the tail that broke off, just a little chip that I had to putty over, and the head has kind of a clip, which is pretty common to some of the, like the Triceratops and the Styracosaurus, where the head kind of has a little pin that it clips onto. Um, it broke on this one, and it wasn't the only break, and I'll go over that in a minute. But I've got it uh, primed, and we're going to start painting on it soon. And the base, lots of breakages. Part of this came broken when I got it off of eBay. And I'll show you I had to do some repairs here and here and here and here. Just kept on finding places where pieces were broken off. So I've got a little sanding to do to finish this up, but it's ready to paint, or will be ready to paint soon. I've got a little bit of sanding to do. Yeah, there was, anyway, lots of repairs that had to be done. Okay. Now let's talk about, I've got our salamander ready to go. Got a itsy bitsy spider here. And I'm just going to show it this way. Nameplate is ready to go. This is the piece that I was talking about that broke off on the clip on the inside of the head. All right, so it comes to this little teeny tiny skeleton, and of course our little teeny tiny spider. Also supposed to come with a little bone, but that was missing, so I made some bones out of milliput. So here's where I'm going next. I'm going to be doing base coats first on the base and on the Dimetrodon. And what I'm going to do with the Dimetrodon is a wash, because I want to keep the white of the primer to work with, but there's a lot of surface detail that I want to come out. So I'm going to do a dark wash, probably a mix of black brown and leather brown, which I will then wipe off. And then from there, I'm going to try something I haven't done before, and that is I'm going to spray it with a clear flat coat just to protect this, because sometimes what will happen is when you're working with acrylics, you'll have one color and then you'll be doing another, and it'll wash away a little bit of the previous color. So to address that, I'm going to spray it with clear coat. So that's where we're at. So let's get on into it. This Aurora Prehistoric Scenes sailback reptile, the Dimetrodon, is done. So let's talk about this kit. First of all, I've got a complaint. The plastic on this is really, really brittle. So if you ever build one of these original kits and not the repops by Revell, you might run into this issue. The head at one point broke off while I was just kind of handling it while painting it. Not very roughly either. This leg had a pin that broke, and then I had to super glue both of these down. So this is a very brittle kit. So if you're going to build it, beware. All right. So in terms of the paint job, this was my inspiration, and I think I came kind of close to it. Probably could have gone a little lighter if I was trying to actually match it, but it was more of an inspiration. I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. The build, aside from the plastic being squirrely, the build actually went pretty quickly. Pretty easy to do. And I do like the color scheme. Pretty happy with that. Let's talk about the paint and just the base in general. Paint on the base, and how I did kind of this, added kind of an old rose to the rocks, because I've seen rocks that look like that have kind of this little pink tint. I think it turned out pretty good. There's a lot going on in the space. There's a little bone that goes, well, wherever, but the instructions show it going here. That got lost somewhere. So I made a little bone out of milliput. And then there's this little teeny tiny skeleton and a little spider. Probably a tarantula by that size. Maybe not. And then we have what I call the Whataburger salamander. I was trying to figure out a paint scheme and saw something that's orange and yellow. And then a little later it's like, that looks like a Whataburger logo. For those who aren't in Texas, Whataburger is a big burger chain. Very good, by the way. So this is the Whataburger salamander. I added, hopefully you can see it there, some legs to the dragonfly. My first attempt at doing that, I think they're too big. In fact, I know they're too big, but it was a first attempt. I did put a little rod attached to this so it could be flying. And I used some clear gloss for the water over kind of a brown and green, because a lot of ponds, I know water, everybody thinks water's blue, and in certain situations where it's really clean and really deep, yeah, you can get blue water. Most of the time it's kind of a brown or green color because of the algae in it, or the silt and sediment. Anyway, so that came together pretty good. So let me put it all back. Oh, the nameplate, of course, turned out pretty good. And I may do another video about this. This is a nameplate holder because I got really tired of the nameplates either sitting flat or kind of trying to put a little tape behind them and tape them to the base, and they always look janky. So I made these little things and painted them with brass and black, and it's just a much better presentation. Anyway, so here is, get them put there right, our Prehistoric Scenes Sailback Reptile, the Dimetrodon, which I've heard these called stem mammals or mammal-like reptiles. So, synapsids. Anyway, well, thanks for joining me on this latest adventure. And I'm going to have more adventures here real soon, so stick around.